With Sonic Frontiers on the horizon and possibly already out by the time I finish editing this video, I figured it would be the best time to release a video going over what was the first Sonic game I played, Sonic Generations. This was the first game I played on my PS3, but it wouldn't be until much later that I would appreciate it for what it was, a celebration of Sonic's history as a video game character that quite frankly was very unfamiliar with at the time, so I didn't understand what any of the locations were meant to represent when I first played it, and unfortunately I feel like Sonic Team hasn't really thought about what people who are younger and play their games will think of Rain Hill and Chemical Plant being in them for like the 7th time. Of course, now I know they were levels that were representing previous original Sonic titles as a celebration of Sonic's history, but now they're in every Sonic game, and most of the iterations after Generations have noticeable downgrades besides Mania. The story of Sonic Generations was kind of original, at least at the time, a giant monster that disrupts the space-time continuum to the point where Sonic literally has to beat old foes from his past with his past self alongside him. Sounds great in theory, but the execution of the writing wasn't really as good as it could have been, which brings me to the story. Most of it was just both Sonics going forward and being like, whoa, you're me and I'm me too. We need to find that monster in Eggman because Eggman probably did this, and yep, that's the plot except for the beginning where his friends have a birthday party for him, and the end where you fight the Time Eater, but other than that, there really wasn't much to the plot. I couldn't see the character's personality through really any of the dialogue or challenge levels, so really the plot wasn't there, but the gameplay was, and the gameplay I did receive. I still think this is the best 3D Sonic game, and yes, this is after going back and playing the Adventure titles, but I do like Adventure 1 at least, but that's besides the point. There are two gameplay styles, Classic Sonic, which is the first you play as, and probably better than modern Sonic in some respects, if I'm being honest with myself. There are all the classic stages you would expect, like ones from Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, but it's not the same as he controls on a game like Mania that I would play much later. Then he has the newer levels from past Sonic games like Adventure 1, 2, and Heroes. Then there's modern Sonic who controls like he does in Unleashed and Colors, but really is just an overall improvement, combining the best elements of both playstyles. I thought almost all the levels he had were great except for Planet Wisp. You can boost forward really fast and pull off really cool stunts if executed properly. I got S ranks on most of the stages on my PS3 copy, but I do remember not enjoying some of the challenge levels for both Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic as much as some of the others when I started achievement hunting. The Knuckles challenge in particular, sending the game to a halt and stopping for Sonic to give you some coins, wasn't exactly the most fun challenge level, but that didn't matter too much because only one at each level was required to collect the key to progress at each stage before defeating the mandatory boss for a Chaos Emerald. Plus you got these music notes for jumping at the bell to show you cool stuff in the gallery, and sometimes songs that you could use to replace the music in any stage as either Classic or Modern Sonic. You could play Green Hill Zone with his world music playing in the background if you got lucky, and that's exactly what I did. Play the stages so much that sometimes my disc would glitch out. This was back when those were still required to play a game and the full base game was already on the disc. So Sonic Generations was good, and I had hoped the next Sonic game would be something original with the same design philosophy as Sonic Generations Modern Boost stages when I got old enough to comprehend that none of what I played was original, but dreams don't always come true. Still like what we got on next generation, and by next generation I mean on my PS4 because I wasn't about to buy a Nintendo console that was already failing at launch just to play Sonic Boom or Sonic Lost World. It was nowhere near the level of quality Generations provided though. I would have been perfectly fine getting modern Sonic stages exactly like the ones from Generations, just ported to the next generation with a completely original story and assets, at the very least retextured to seem original, but that didn't happen unfortunately. Instead we got Sonic Forces, which made people mock Sonic just as much if not more than after Sonic Boom came out. It was disappointing, especially considering everyone including Sonic Team and their marketing were hyping up the game before launch like it would be the best thing since the cotton gin was invented in 1794, saying it was the exact same people who made Sonic Colors and Generations, which made it even more disappointing after game launch to discover that what we all thought was going to be Sonic's next big break after the critically acclaimed titles like Generations they claimed that the developers had previously worked on was nothing more than a husk of what made those titles great. It took a very long break from anything to do with Sonic after Forces launched, and I beat it, but now I'm here waiting for Sonic Frontiers to see if it's a disappointment or not. Also, if you happen to watch my previous video, I do believe some elements in Sonic Forces were good good, but they weren't executed properly, and they needed way more time than Sega actually gave Sonic Team to try to execute them.